Hello and welcome everybody to another episode of FSM After Dark. I am Rich Decristan here with Kalani Lua. I actually got that right for once, bro. It's like the first time I've ever done that and actually pointed to the right side. Getting good. Practice, baby. So, I figured jump into it just because it was tonight and I'm still a little heartbroken over it, obviously, as I'm sure you know. I'm not wearing any Boston gear tonight because there's no reason to be wearing Boston gear tonight because Tyler Hero, he jumped all over us, came off the bench and scored 30 points, which no rookie has ever done off the bench. He scored the most points since Magic, more than Derrick Rose, the only three of them to do that. I mean, at 30 points plus in a playoff game, he showed out. He really and I mean, he took a lot of highly contested shots, a lot of good layups. Like he wasn't just sitting out there ripping threes. He was hitting offhand layups. He was passing the ball. I mean, he looked good. As much as I hate to say they beat on my team, I'm glad at least some record got broken out of it. There's some good to look at it. Did you get to catch any of that?
I got to catch like the last 5 minutes or so of it just because we had practice and practice ran a little bit later. So that's the only reason. Otherwise, I would have been able to watch more. But, it's weird. It's funny because when the bubble and the playoffs were first starting, Duncan Robinson was the name you kept hearing for the Heat that was lighting up from beyond the arc. Then he kind of cooled off a little bit, but Tyler Hero picked up right there, and he's been the one that's been on fire, scoring 37 off the bench. And he, like when Duncan was there, it just seems every time he puts the ball up, you think it's going to go in. You're like, oh, there goes another one. And then, like you said, dishing it around, switching hands at the rim, showing off his skill set. And then, I like how Bam Adebayo said at the end, I put it in Pat Riley's ear to draft him. Maybe he did, maybe he didn't. But it's the way this team is constructed.
Joe wanted to draft him, actually.
Well, I you know what? I do apologize because Joe knew somebody at his in his AAU squad that he talked to him, so he knew about it 15 years ago. I do apologize. Joe Arrigo called that one long time ago. So
we got to give him hell because he's not here. We know he's coming, but we got to give him smack. Like they talk smack about my 90 teams, and I just added one, the Aviators now.
Yeah, man.
The new home MLB team, the MILB team. Jeez, that's a mouthful.
It really is a mouthful. It really is a mouthful. And you got to be careful about that, man, because sometimes a mouthful could be bad, with the laryngitis and whatnot and the throat. And, if you don't get the proper stretch out, you got to watch yourself, man.
What's really funny, actually, quick about the Aviators, to jump back to the basketball thing. They used to be the 51s, as I'm sure you know. Yep. And that was actually the Mets farm team. And they switched farm teams around with some teams so they could get the Mets farm team back in New York, just because calling up a guy from Las Vegas to New York on a 5-hour flight is not good. You get the jet lag going in New York, then you got to go play a game, and it probably means something because they just called you up. So, yeah, all that. But for me, it sucks because I still wish it was kind of the Mets team just because I would have got to see the young guys. But the A's, the whole Billy Beane thing, they have a good thing going on here. They really do. They have a good system and a great stadium. And if I haven't gotten to go to a game there yet, but I'm really looking forward to it. And hopefully I'm hoping to do some writing for them next year too. Add that to the other stuff.
When the 51s were first announced here in Vegas a few years back, it never made sense to me. Why would you have a West Coast team affiliated with a far East Coast team? It's not like it's Chicago or Colorado, like it's not, or Texas. It's not like it's a Midwest team. It's like far East. So that didn't make a lot of sense to me. So I'm glad they did switch it up. And like you said, with the stadium, I hate to say this because it's my hometown, but it's just the truth. How is it your minor league team almost has a better stadium than your pro team?
Not almost. That's not almost. Well, they do.
The Oakland A's stadium, okay, only has two upsides to it. One, the banners that they can hold. They might be old. You gotta blow some dust off of them, but still. Yeah. The other one is that they have a BART system, which is our metro or train system, wherever you guys are and you call it, that gets off right there. So you just cross the bridge. Those are the only two benefits to it. Other than that thing looks like it's held together by a stick of gum. spit, and a whole bunch of prayers, man. That is one nasty, disgusting, horrible stadium. And I'm glad that the Las Vegas Raiders, who played in such a gorgeous stadium the other night, I'm glad that they finally got a new arena, even though it's in a new place.
Hell yeah. Well, what's funny about that
Hey,
is
look who's
as Joe joins us, what's funny about that is, and I want you guys to hear this real quick. So I was watching the Raiders
Richie,
game the other night.
Stick them up. We're being robbed. We're being robbed. Stick them up.
My money.
Man, look, I'm out. Hey, I'm out in the streets, and I believe fully in a couple things. Keep my ass safe tonight. Damn it, I ain't catching the virus, so I'm good. But what up, Epic? Hey, that's DJ Epic. Billy is DJ Epic from Power 106 in LA, bro. That's my dog.
Oh, I did it again. I forgot to pull the comments up.
Look, I promise you, I was like, who are we talking about? Because I don't see anything.
Oh, y'all slipping. But what were we going? What's the topic? Because I'm driving and I gotta get gas and stuff. But I couldn't miss the show.
We were just talking really quick because I bought a new Aviators hat to support the local teams. We were talking about the Aviators real quick and then how they had a nicer stadium than their professional team. And I was bringing
That's
up
true.
really quick how, and I hope to God this gets out there because I think it would be awesome. After watching that Raiders game the other night, when they show that gorgeous shot looking out that window and you see that beautiful background of Las Vegas and that T-Mobile arena and then that damn parking deck right there, they need to rip that parking deck down and put a baseball stadium right there. So now you got T-Mobile arena and a baseball stadium in your background. That's what they need to do.
Well, Rich, I don't know if you know this, but Joe actually knows some of the construction guys out here. He's been talking with the union people, and he was in on a few meetings, so he's privy to some future plans. So be on the lookout for 2025. Joe Arrigo going to drop some dimes on us.
It'll be before 2025. And actually, they were looking at the Trop site, or not Trop, the Rio site where the Rio currently is. And then now they are looking in Henderson over by the M, and by M Resort and them. That's something that they have been that has been talked about, and I think RJ has some stuff on that.
And I think that would be a great thing for Vegas.
That'd be a cool spot for them.
I think Vegas needs a professional baseball team.
I agree, and it's cool because I'll be living in Mountain's Edge in a matter of weeks, and that's not that far from there. Actually, it's like right around the corner. So, I'll be digging that immensely.
I live right up by South Point. I'll be down there as much as I can. I'll be looking into PSLs. I don't care who comes.
Yeah.
I could just, I could just take a lift out that way since we talking about who stays near where. I could take a lift out there, so I'm right there with you guys.
Get lit.
But and I think that's the big thing though too is people you don't realize with a baseball team it was the same thing with a hockey or a basketball team. Why they would do well out here is it's a entertainment town. People come into town for a couple nights. You're looking for something to do. Who wouldn't want to go see their favorite team play Las Vegas's whoever, whatever team they decide to name
it? But it depends on who it is, because look, if we're being real about it, Vegas don't deserve a team before Montreal. Let's be real. The Expos should never have been. But
Montreal already had one and they blew it.
Say what? Montreal
already had a team and they blew it. I'm with you, Joe. I agree. Montreal should have one.
I don't think they blew it. Their owner wanted to leave. Jeffrey Lurie is a piece of shit. He wanted to leave, and that's why. And then what ended up happening was he ended up basically trading the Expos, which became the Nationals, for the Marlins with Major League Baseball. And then he sold the Marlins, and that's the reason why he had no ties to Montreal. Montreal should have still kept their team. Tampa Bay, that's a shitty market. They're a good team, but a shitty market. They deserve to probably lose a team more than anything. I mean,
I think they should move Tampa to Montreal, move the A's out here.
They should do it at the same time.
I don't want the A's in Vegas. I'm gonna be real.
Hey, hold up, man. What's wrong with the A's?
I don't want no more. I don't want nothing more from Oakland. I don't want nothing more from Oakland. I caught too much shit when the Raiders came down. Have the A's come down. Man. I'm cool.
Hey,
I say we just take all teams. Screw Oakland.
Hey, man. Hey. First off, watch your mouth, Richie.
I'm joking.
Watch your mouth, Richie. You were talking about the greatest city known to man in Oakland. You understand me?
Hey, my roommate's up from that area. I'm talking smack.
Hey, man. Yeah,
I got love for all cities except anywhere in New Jersey. That place, I'm legit. In Jersey, go screw itself.
Oh, we know, Rich. You got love for Philadelphia, Pittsburgh, Cincinnati, Charlotte.
I love everybody, baby.
We know. You know, everybody east of Texas, you good with. We know.
Hey, we're adding right here. Arizona. We're adding right here, baby, with the Vegas Aviators.
That's his first. That's his first any West Coast team he likes at ever. Jersey, anything.
Yeah. I got that Dodgers hat too, Joe. I grabbed one. I had to get one. Oh, there he is. There he is.
Stay with it, baby. Even though they lost tonight, but.
Oh, thanks for telling me. I was watching the game on delay.
Hey,
I'm in the ninth inning. Actually, no, he just caught the final out. You're good. He just caught the final out. I do that for Joe. I watch the game in delay for no hitters now, just for Joe.
Hey, not for me.
Joe said you got to be the one to do recap, not him.
Hell yeah, he's the one that got it right. I got to do all the other shit to it.
That's funny though. Yeah, I do that for him though, because if I watch a game live and the no hitters go and that's it, it's blown.
Yeah, I remember he was telling us that, man. That was kind of creepy, but it's pretty fun.
But anyway, we were actually talking too before that about the basketball game tonight and how my Celtics blew that game with a ridiculous amount of turnovers, and Tyler Hero is a beast.
You know what? Tyler Hero, like, I'm going to be honest with you. I don't like him. Like, he looks like the type of dude, that I grew up around, that was that entitled white dude that thought he was cool with everybody because he could hoop, and he said some off-color and off-candid things. I thought he could get away with it and then get his ass whooped. Like, he looks like that guy. Like, did you see him on draft night? Yeah, exactly, bro. Like, and I hate, was it Jamie Kennedy? I hate that fucker. Yes. like, honestly, like, dude on draft night was. It's like, dude, like, know your place. You know what I'm saying? Like, know your place. Like, let's be real. And I don't know, that right there just kind of made me feel like towards him. And then now it's like, the dude can hoop, he can shoot. I think Duncan Robinson is better. You know what I'm saying? And I think his story is fucking phenomenal. Like, to go from D3 to transfer to Michigan, and then from Michigan, I think it was a second round pick when he shot above like 50% or above from 3-point line this year. Like, and they shot 96% from the free throw line. That's some fucking crazy stats for a dude that wasn't good enough to get a D1 scholarship coming out of high school and had to be a grad transfer to Michigan. You know what I mean? That just shows me something. But I'm not a Tyler Hero guy. I'm sorry. Like, it's not my thing. But he can hoop.
He impressed me tonight. That's for sure. With the passing, the shooting, the layups, offhand. I mean, he did a lot. The Celtics also blew that game, but he did a lot.
Well, you know, I mean, it goes hand in hand, man. You know, the Celtics blew it, but you also got to give credit to the Miami Heat for the type of defense they play, the hustle plays that they do. And then because you got guys like Hero, Robinson, Butler, with their play and how high of a level they've been at, it forces the Celtics to try to keep up with that. And sometimes when you do it and you're not in rhythm, you make mistakes. So even though the Celtics made a lot of errors, you also got to give credit to the Heat for those as well, for applying that pressure to force the Celtics into doing something like that. You know what I'm saying? So it goes 100%. Both ways. It's not just, we had a bunch of turnovers. It's also because of how the other team played that made those turnovers happen. You know, it's like like, don't get me wrong, the Golden State Warriors play really good defense, but one of the reasons I never thought Draymond Green was a good defender, he knows most guys that he's guarding are going to shoot outside shots because they're trying to keep up with the Warriors. So I don't have to worry about you driving so much or at the basket. Because if you actually notice, a lot of times when guys drive on Draymond, if he doesn't have a step on him, they get by him fairly easy because he's not a block. He doesn't block shots. So his defense is predicated on those 3 to 4 seconds when you're right above the key or wherever around the three-point line, and then get my hand up because you're going to have to jack up a three to keep up with those two light-skinned brothers. So when you playing at a high level like that and you're forcing the offense to try to keep pace and they're not in rhythm, they're going to make mistakes. So you always got to give credit to the Heat for forcing those mistakes that the Celtics made tonight.
Yeah.
Yeah. Hey, you know what? Like, Epic brings up a good point. It is after dark, bro. Like, Epic, look, man, throw him out. Like, he brought up a good question, and he stays
Here,
on
this
topic
one
of
for
the
Joe
NBA,
right
he says
here.
Lakers in 5. I could just go from LA to LV with some Henny. Hell yeah. Hey, but if I drink dark, I get on some other shit, man. Dark make me
I actually
angry
meant
and
this
violent.
one, Joe.
No,
This was the one I meant for you.
Fuck that, dude. Keep the Angels in OC. Fuck the Angels. Artie Moreno's bitch ass, man. Fuck him. I hate the Angels,
Hey,
bro. With that,
And then this
I understand your hate. I understand your hate for them, Joe. But you got to admit, it would be kind of cool to have Mike Trout here.
he wouldn't be there. They're gonna fucking trade him in 2 years, bro. Like, there's no way he's gonna stay there.
to the Yankees.
Like having Joe Adele, like that'll be dope. Joe Adele's legit, but fucking Trout, bro. I'm gonna tell you, not like honestly, like Artie Moreno is too stupid of an owner to do what's right for fucking baseball, and that's he literally with one trade of Mike Trout could revitalize his whole team for the next 10 years. He can get at least 2 major league ready guys or 2 major leaguers right now that are legit and like 5 top prospects to go and you can rebuild your pitching, you could rebuild your offense. I mean, it could do wonders and clear a bunch of payroll and go get another free agent or 2, but he's too dumb to do that shit.
Can you imagine?
And he's.
Could you imagine if they traded him to the Yankees and what that farm system, Joe? Because I know you know that farm system. That you'd have a playoff team in a couple of years.
If he would get traded to the Yankees, like I don't think that would ever happen because Moreno doesn't really like trading with the Yankees. That's a loaded farm system, but
Dominguez,
the Yankees
Clark, Schmidt, Devi. I mean,
I don't think
for Mike Trout,
I don't think they give up Jason. I don't think they give up Jason Dominguez because that's who he's compared to.
I mean, yeah.
I mean, he's the Martian for a reason. You know what I mean? Like,
no,
17
that's true.
years old, and he's like their top prospect. Like, the guy's gonna be up at 18, 19 years old, and he's gonna be a major leaguer for the next 20 years in pinstripes.
But you gotta wonder with that though. You gotta wonder with that. And look, he's a terrific prospect, and I wish that young man nothing but the best. But you gotta wonder, when's the last time the Yankees won a World Series? Does the pressure of Aaron Judge, Giancarlo Stanton, if they don't bring a title in the next year or 2, does the pressure becomes too much that, hey, we're the Yankees, we're supposed to be winning at least 1 or 2, at least every 8 to 10 years? If it's been since 2009, I believe, does the pressure get to them where they make a dramatic change where they're like, listen, he could be something, but we know what Mike Trout is. We know what he can do now. We put him with them 2 bombers. It's guaranteed in 3 years we're getting the title. Whereas with the prospect, you're taking that risk of, okay, somewhere in the next 5 to 8 years we'll be ready. So I mean, I don't know, because the Yankees, like I said, they're one of those organizations where going long stretches without a title is not ideal for them. You know what I'm saying? So it's one of those cases where you got to say, are they willing to hold off for a few more years if the team they have now or will have in the next year or two, if they don't bring a World Series on, will they still be patient enough to allow this prospect to grow and become something, or will they panic and say, we got to win now, let's make a trade?
They're going to build hard for the next 5 years for the sole fact of you just locked Garrett Cole up on a $300+ million contract for the next decade. You know Aaron Judge is going to be there because he hasn't even come off his minor league deal yet, and they're going to pay him. I mean, they've never named a corner of the stadium after somebody. So all that's going to happen. The farm system's loaded. All these guys are there. To me, I would love to do it for the win now scenario, but it's also one of those, the Yankees have a lot of chips. I mean, granted, they haven't won one, like you said, since 2009, but they have a lot of them. They're not the Cubs where they traded their top prospect, like Joe was just talking about with Dominguez, in Gleyber Torres, who's my favorite Yankee right now. And they rented the guy out for Aroldis Chapman for half a year that wound up coming back to the Yankees. So not that would happen with Trout because he's on a 12-year, $400-something million deal. The problem with that, in all honesty, isn't even about any of the other stuff. It's actually the numbers of between Judge, Stanton, Garrett Cole, and then if you had Trout, his contract, you're well over $1 billion.
You're the Yankees, man.
Like 1.2 billion in 3 contracts. Listen, I'm the same way. They could just tap into the New Era fund for their hats and just be like, how many hats we sell this year? Okay, we'll just do that to pay his contract. That's fine. That's fine.
They can tap into the New Era fund.
Jay-Z solely has stock in Yankee hats.
How crazy of a franchise is when you say, oh, how much is it? Hey, get the hat fund and get it out of there. Hey, you know what? Get the jersey fund for that one, or the T-shirt fund for that one. We'll just play it off that way.
now think about this. I want to do some quick comparison for you real quick, right? I watch a lot of stuff online. Right. Chance the Rapper, you know that 3 hat that he wears?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, sir.
In the first, yes, man. Fuck you. In the first couple of years.
My bad.
He's like, I've been talking to parents all night.
Hey, exactly, man. My fault. I gotta get out of my head.
So, Chance the Rapper, that 3 hat that he has, that New Era hat, he made $6 million in 1 year. In the first 2 years, he did those hats. So now, wow. I don't know about you, but I ain't seen a lot of people wearing those hats. I know they're popular, but I ain't seen a lot of people wearing those hats. They're in a city in America. You can't walk 50 blocks through and not see somebody wearing a damn Yankees hat. They don't even know who the damn team is. They're like, yeah, this is important right here.
Well, you got to think, man, even though Chance the Rapper is big, you got to think, 1, international sales, and then 2, he's a Midwest type guy. So you got to figure with us, even though you're from the East Coast, now you're out here in the West, you got to think, man, with people in St. Louis, Chicago, Indiana, Detroit, all up and down there, man, they probably rocking it too, because I haven't seen a lot of 3s, but look, everywhere I've been in my entire life, I've always seen Yankees hats. So, yeah.
And that's what I'm saying. Now, think about the math of that you haven't seen a lot of them, but dude selling them. You've seen a lot of Yankee hats. I mean, I have probably 25 of them myself at least. So it's one of those, they're making money. But yes, the 100%. They've got the money to do it. It's just would they? Letting up the farm system is a hard thing because trust me, in the next 3 to 5 years, the Yankees are not going away anytime soon. It's not one of those, they've got to do it now while they've got these guys. They're not going away for the next 10 years at least. So they're going to be in it for a while just because of that farm system. So whether they did something or not is not a big thing. I'd love to see it. But actually, funny enough, now that Joe's back and he's got his Dodger hat on, your buddy Billy's comment here about Bellinger being first $800 million player. I don't know. The first guy I thought that was going to be over, excuse me, up there over the $700 million mark was Judge his rookie year. If he would have kept that up and never got hurt, I think just New York would have paid him whatever they wanted just to keep it up. But the fact that he's been hurt and he hasn't really, we haven't seen what we saw that rookie year. I don't think he's going to get that crazy payday. And now that Betts has been paid, I don't know who the next big, maybe Tim Anderson. I don't know who the next big name is to get paid, or it would probably be a pitcher.
I would say I don't think it's Bellinger because he's too inconsistent. And let's be real, he had the MVP last year, but before that, he was playing as bad as he is this year. So, and he's not playing like an MVP offensively. I'll take it a step further. I thought it would be Trout or Betts that would be that guy, because I think they're the two best players in baseball, and I really don't think it's close right now at this point. What Betts is doing on a new team in a new league, I think is remarkable. I mean, he's going to win another. And I can't see the comments, so I want to be able to see him, but I can't. But he's going to win the MVP. He's going to win a Gold Glove. He's going to win a Silver Slugger. And Trout is Mike Trout. He's right there. I think the one guy that could get it, depending on if he gets it, he's going to get it from another team. And what type of year he has next year if he's not traded it could be Francisco Lindor. I mean, he'll be 25, 26 years old, playing a premium position, a 6-tool player. He's proven. I mean, he had a hell of a World Series. When they played against the Cubs and lost in that, he's clutched in the postseason. And I think he's one of the 3 or 4 guys that should be a face in baseball's done a decent job of making him a face, but he's a guy that could be a face of baseball. He's well spoken, articulate, smiley. He plays the game the way it should be played. Tatis could be a guy that gets it. Tatis, I mean, he's
100%.
Another guy. He's another guy that's right there in the same breath as Lindor is the best shortstop in baseball. Tim Anderson. I don't think Timmy's going to get that because I think people look at Tim as more of a hothead, and that sucks because Tim is such a phenomenal shortstop, and it sucks that he's with the White Sox. And Jerry Reinsdorf ain't going to pay anybody that type of money. I mean, especially after today when he's paid Billy Donovan to be the Bulls head coach.
I gotta admit, man, I think it was me and Joe on Twitter when it happened that might have went back and forth on it, but I brought up when Mookie Betts signed that big contract. I said, hey, brother, get your bag. But I always wonder, when you pay a player big money, look, it's a fact. Oftentimes we've seen those guys the following year, all of a sudden those injuries come up, or, coach, my shoulder's a little stiff today. I'm not, I got my money, so I'm not going to play through this, or they just, that they don't come in shape, et cetera, et cetera. He's been above and beyond what I thought he would be after signing the big contract. And it's not against him. It wasn't against him personally as a player, but just historically, the numbers suggest that after you play a player big money, more often than not, they don't necessarily live up to expectations. So I'm very happy to see that he's proven me wrong. Look, I'll gladly admit I'm wrong for something like that. I have no issues with that whatsoever. I wanted to throw this question to both of you guys. Let's take our logical GM hats off for a moment, and let's just say, fantasy-wise, if you could just make it happen, not just put them on there for a bag of chips, but if you can make it happen, if you could put Mike Trout on a team for whatever reason, hey, if you put him here, that franchise, along with what it's going to do for our bottom line, great. What's a team you think would be, if Major League Baseball, let's say the Angels were no more, hey, man, they're just going to fall off. They're no longer going to even be in Major League Baseball. We got to put everyone on different teams. What's a team you guys would seriously like to see Mike Trout on if you had that power?
I know where Rich is going.
Okay, difficult. as a Yankees fan, yeah, of course, the Yankees. As a person that knows baseball, I think you're all actually going to laugh at me about this. Young Miami team. I think what Derek Jeter is doing down there and all that young talent, you bring in a guy like Mike Trout, and those kids walk into that locker room and they see fucking Mike Trout and Derek Jeter, they're going to be like, yeah, what do you want me to do? It's not going to be much argument from those guys. So I think you're going to see good. I think you would see good play. That would be my quote sleeper team, I guess, that I think he would do well on.
But I think I would love to see that happen, first of all, because I think Miami is a team that has the resources to pull off a big trade like that. First of all, like if we and legitimately the Angels opened it up, Miami has the resources with Harrison. You can go Jazz Chisholm. You can go with some of the young pitching prospects. I forget the young outfielder's name that they have. And they have a couple other pieces that they can move. Look, if you're talking about what's good for baseball, it be the Dodgers or the Yankees. Let's just be real about it, because it's the two biggest media markets. They're two brands that are probably the two most iconic brands in baseball. Their logos are the most worn, and they're arguably the most well-known worldwide, globally. But I would like to see him go to. This is going to sound, you guys are going to think I'm batshit crazy for this one. The Milwaukee Brewers. You put him with Christian Yelich in that hitter's ballpark, and Milwaukee is a sneaky good sports town. I mean, the state is a really good sports state. It doesn't get talked about enough.
What other teams playing? What other teams are in the state of Wisconsin, Joe? I wonder. What other teams are in Wisconsin?
No. It got nothing to do with, why would I mean, you look at that team, the way they're built, and if they just said you can put him on any team, he fits a huge need for them. He fits a right-handed power hitter in their lineup. And you got a guy that's, again, a top 5 player right next to him with Christian Yelich, and what the Brewers have there. That's a good story. That makes, and here's the thing about baseball in Milwaukee. Bud Selig's fingerprints is all over Major League Baseball, and they will be like that for a very long time. Milwaukee, the Major League Baseball wants to make sure Milwaukee is taken care of. That's a secret, and they're pleasantly happy when Milwaukee's doing good. So, but if we're looking at the grand scope, Dodgers or Yankees, not necessarily in that order. Even the Phillies, because that's the team he grew up rooting for, and that's the closest in proximity to where he grew up.
I remember when everybody was talking about him and Harper, if they would have teamed up in Philly. Woo.
Yeah, that would have been something to see, him and Bryce Harper together, and maybe with someone like Mike Trout, because Harper is uber talented, but he does get criticism for maybe being a little out of control, little bit of a wild man, which I don't necessarily mind that so much. Sometimes you can let your passion get away from you, but you put someone like Mike Trout there, hey, with the way he carries himself and plays, that might actually be encouraging for Harper to get on board and kind of kind of mold himself after that. But I like what you guys were saying. The obvious answers are the Dodgers and the Yankees. But I was thinking, just to stick with the same concept of, well, that's good for baseball because they're the two biggest teams. I was thinking, okay, well, we already got Aaron Judge in New York. We got Mookie in LA. Let's take Mike Trout. Let's put him with the Chicago Cubs. We got the East, we got the West, we got the Midwest. I know they got Chris Bryant, but he's coming off an injury, kind of having a down year. We'll see how he bounces back from that. But Chicago's right there next to Milwaukee, so Joe was real close with that particular one. I was also thinking go up north and go to the San Francisco Giants. They show that when they were on and popping, even though they didn't have tremendous stars, they didn't have surefire Hall of Famers at holding the bats, they were definitely a big market team that you could look at and say, hey, that's something to pay attention to. And then, of course, I look at the St. Louis Cardinals, and their history, that they've always been real good with baseball and how their fans support, and the Atlanta Braves. the Atlanta Braves to me also felt like they would be a good team just because
God, that's actually out of all the ones we've talked about. That honestly, Kalani, I was trying to think of another one. You talk about, excuse me. You talk about win now.
Yeah,
hands down, bro. Honestly, out of everything you said, there's not a better team than that for right now. Win now. You didn't hear that, Joe, but Kalani brought up the Braves actually. Win now. I don't think they. Funny enough, that's a good one, dude.
I'm never gonna have anything nice to say about the Braves, okay?
And that's fine.
That's a sore subject with me. So
I mean, I'm just saying though,
but from everything all encompassing, absolutely, the Braves have again a top young. Hey, the Nationals would be another good team. They're loaded with young talent. I mean, you look at put them on a team with young talent, but they got to be guys that can win right now, and that's why Atlanta makes sense. Really, everybody that we said, excluding the Giants, which you brought up, are all teams that have the very good possibility of winning right now, or they're teams that are winning right now.
And you couldn't pitch around.
Did they make the playoffs, or they're still?
I think Atlanta's still in it, but any one of those teams we just talked about, the big ones like LA, New York, and Atlanta, you could not pitch around any of those lineups. Having to deal with Mike Trout, Bellinger, Mookie, Muncy, then going to New York and Judge and LeMahieu and Trout and how would you even set that lineup up there? And then same thing with Atlanta, Acuna and Freddie Freeman and the other kid, Albies. I mean, jeez. But
it'll be tough. It'll be tough, man. It'll be tough bringing in somebody like that, But like you guys are kind of pointing out, do you put them with a major market that's already stacked and just make them the global empire that everyone hates, or do you put them someplace that's growing but already has a strong fan base that it'll just get even stronger going forward, like the Nationals or whatever? They got a fan base, but it's not they're a powerhouse just yet. You put him in there, puts them over the top. Hey, now we got something. So I just wanted to bring that up and whatnot.
World Series champions.
Here's the other thing too, though.
We'll see if they can repeat. Well, since they can't steal signs anymore, we'll see how they do going forward since they can't cheat anymore.
The Nationals weren't stealing signs.
No, it was the Astros.
They're the ones. The Nationals actually called the Astros out on it. If anything, the Nationals
are defending champions.
No, Nats.
The Nationals.
The way it came through, Joe, it broke up. So to me, it sounded like you said Astros. That's why I said what I said.
No, but the big thing about what you were talking about is purely fantasy, because the problem with all of this that we're talking about, and I know it's going to sound really ironic to say this, but especially about LA, because he's already in LA, but he's in the other LA. He does not want to be in a major market. Mike Trout is the face of baseball and does not want to be the face of baseball. That's why they pushed it off to Judge and then Mookie and Bellinger and this one and that. And they're pushing it off to anybody that'll take the limelight, because it's supposed to be Mike Trout is the LeBron James of our sport, except he does not want to talk to anybody about it. That's what it comes down to. If he wanted to, exactly. Except he's at the top of Mount Rushmore. You know what I mean? He's there. Yeah. Like, he's that dude. He's got a better WAR than guys that are in the Hall of Fame already.
Like that dude's legit. He's legit, man.
But it's just, he said it. He doesn't want to be, he's not that guy. Other people are that guy, but that's why he'll never go to New York or the Dodgers or any big team like that.
I want to pose this question. And I think LA media, I know LA media is different than East Coast media, so I think that him going to the Dodgers wouldn't. And there's almost was a trade that took place a few years ago. They had Trout going to the Dodgers and Puig going to the Angels. It was in that same Howie Kendrick getting traded from the Angels to the Dodgers, and Kemp getting traded to Diego. Like it was actually agreed upon. Moreno got cold feet, but that's another story for another day. Would you, if the Angels called you and said Cody Bellinger, Gilbert Ruiz, and 2 more prospects for Mike Trout, do the Dodgers pull the trigger?
If I'm the Dodgers, 100% I pull the trigger. You put Mookie Betts and Mike Trout in the same lineup, I don't care. Because like you said, Bellinger's streaky. I love Bellinger to death. He's got the most beautiful swing I've ever seen since Ken Griffey Jr. And you put Mike Trout, though, with him, with his consistency and the way he hits and how he can put it between the gaps and how fast he is and the way he plays. I mean, Mike Trout. Yeah, you put him and Mookie together, you got 1 and 2 right there. That's like going in the NBA and being like, all right, healthy Kevin Durant, prime LeBron James. Let's just put the 2 of them together, and you guys get to play together on a team.
Yo,
I pulled the trigger all day.
What about you, Kalani?
For the next 3 years, you got to pay for my concession food when I go to Lakers games, Dodgers. Angels for pull this off. You got to pay for it. I'm greedy like that. I'm like that movie Moneyball. Hey, and I want you to pay for my vending machines. My players deserve free sodas, free drinks. But no, I would certainly do that simply because, like, don't get me wrong, I understand building for the future, but like I said before, do you with the Yankees, do you wait for possibilities for something you already know is a sure thing? Like, we know what Mike Trout can do. We may have good people in our farm system. You just don't know who's going to come up and make it and who's going to get here, and maybe the lights are too bright for them. Who knows? But I certainly will pull the trigger simply because to land a once-in-a-generation type player like Mike Trout is very rare. And I would certainly do it sooner rather than later. I'd rather have him in his prime years when he could still be of value to me than later when he's simply a name but injuries have caught up to him and Father Time is limiting him what he could be. One of the saddest things for me, and I can't remember how old he was when he did it, is when Ken Griffey Jr. went to Cincinnati. Because I always felt like, for whatever reason, whether it was going back home, and again, I can't remember his age, or if Father Time just happened to creep up on him, but I just felt like what we saw in Seattle, if a couple more years there, he might have literally gone down as the greatest baseball player of all time. Right now, he might be considered that. But I mean, a couple more years in Seattle, and he might have solidified that with his play there. Cincinnati, it just didn't work out. I'd hate to see something like that. So if I was the Dodgers and I got that call today, I'm pulling it. And tomorrow morning, I'm having a press conference announcing, hey, you see these 2? See that trophy? We coming for you.
Every year for the next decade, we're coming for you. But the Dodgers need a little pitching help, though.
For real.
That is the truth. Bullpen. Yeah, I think personally, there's actually, I got a thing that I wrote about it a little bit, but I'll give you a sneak. I think Dustin May might need to go to the bullpen.
And on that note,
Joe? Oh, sorry, Kalani. Go ahead. Bump a bit.
Oh no, I don't know if Joe's with us or not.
Oh, I'm sorry. He froze up.
I think he.
Man, see, Joe in the security office. He's gonna break it in security office.
No, I'm in Jaleesa's office at the hotel, so I'm yeah.
Okay, cool.
Pipeline.
Now, shit, I can't remember the damn question because I had a joke lined up, but I thought Joe was frozen. So I was trying to hold it, and then he told me he was in Jaleesa's office. So, and for some reason, a joke left my mind, so I'm trying to think of it.
I was saying I think Dustin May might need to move to the bullpen. I think he'd be ridiculously dominant at that closer role, personally. But.
You know what? And see, and I know with you and Joe playing baseball at a much higher level than what I did, I've always been curious about that. Like for some guys, I understand it is different, but would it not be maybe beneficial if you did get switched to the bullpen? Maybe not permanently, but for a good short run, maybe you go in there and you just dominate for a short while. and you go out there. Is he picking his nose, or is he trying to show us what a finger up his ass looks like? I don't get that.
Go ahead, Joe. It's your turn.
Dude, that's like a white chocolate Tootsie Roll. What the fuck?
I thought I was frozen.
I mean, if you was, that was going to be the signal you were giving us, man. And that looks like, I don't know if that's your finger or your nose.
So you don't like my Dustin May at closer?
Yeah, what did we say that was so wrong, man?
Am I delayed? No, am I delayed at all? I'm just fucking with you guys.
No, you're good now.
That's all.
So I'm sitting here like, what did I say wrong, man?
A little bit.
Okay, so no. So there's no way that Dustin May should go to the role. Dustin May is the second best pitcher on that right now. Like Kershaw at best is number 3, and that's just being brutally honest. Buster Gruderall should be the closer. He throws 100 with the fastball. Got 8+ mile-an-hour sinker. He's got a nice changeup, cool little slider. Gruderall's the future at closer over Jansen, which personally, Jansen, I would remove him from the closer role immediately or after this season because he's done. And I have no faith in him at all when he comes in the game to pick up a save.
No.
But Buster Gruderall is the guy that should be closing. Dustin May's a legit starter.
The only reason I bring it up,
Dustin
Joe,
May's a legit starter. And I could see really,
I'm sorry, are you still there?
I'm here with you, Richie. I just had to fix something real quick.
Oh, my bad. So anyway, what I was getting at is, though, why I bring it up is before 50 pitches, Dustin May's OPS is 542 with 3 homers. After 50 pitches, his OPS is 886 with 7 homers. So, point being is that doesn't help you past inning 5, and that's why he's only 1-1 on the season as good as he's pitched. It's because he's pitched great. It's once he gets up near 50, 60 pitches, he starts struggling. So that's why I bring up the closer thing. And I don't mean now. I think he's a great pitcher. I think it's just going to be hard for him to record wins if those numbers are the case.
And you know what? I hope I say his last name right, but the Giants tried doing that with Tim Lincecum. I hope I said his last name right. But I feel like by the time they went there, he only had like 1.5 season left in him for that before injuries started becoming like a major thing. And like I was saying with Trout and Griffey, if you're going to do something like that, you don't want to wait too long in a player's career where you can't really see what they can do. I know they got criticized horribly for it, but in the long run, it worked out. When the Nationals decided to put Steven Strauss on a pitch count early in his career and even shut him down over the smallest things. It's like, hey, man, let him play and this and that. Yeah, guys, we're looking at the big picture here. We're not looking at the picture through a keyhole. We're looking at the big picture here. So ultimately, it worked out for them. But it's tough with those type of things. But if you are going to try experimenting with something like that, and like Rich said with the thing, hey, man, when you start getting to 51, 52, you start fucking up. So we trying to keep you at a low pitch count. I would say, why not try it now? Look, try it for a season or two. Let them really get a feel for it. If it doesn't work out, you can always go back to put him as a starter. But if you try it there and he just happens to be better at that. No, I know it's not easy. I know it's not easy, and trust me, I'm not trying to downplay it whatsoever. I understand that. But if he does it for a while and starts getting a feel for it, where you start saying, look, how can I? Oh shit, I can't remember his name, but it was a pitcher who, like, his first couple games of the season, not this year, but it was like 2 seasons ago. I'm trying to think of his name, but anyways, he struggled the first couple seasons. But the announcers were saying, if you look at his pitches, they get better and better, even though his ERA is still up there and he's not getting them. As the season went on, he got better. His ERA went down and he started nailing guys. It's kind of like a shooter. Hey, man, you getting good looks. They just not going down right now. Keep shooting. And I think with that, if you are going to try something like that, maybe it doesn't work immediately right away. But if he starts showing some signs where you can see, ooh, that looks pretty good. Okay. All right. Well, look, we could tool some things, work some things, and it could work out. Then you go forward. But if he gets up there and just shits the bed, where it's like, what the fuck? Then hey, at least you tried.
No, the problem is he's not shitting the bed. He's by the time they run the score up on him, it's in that 5th or 6th inning. So they have the 1 run on him. He's not qualifying for the wins. With me, you got to give him at least another year or 2 at it, at pitching, at starting. If it gets worse, then you got to think about that role. If not, you leave him out there because, like Joe's saying, he is one of the best pitchers on that team. It's just at a certain point, they can just get that 1 run on him, and the offense isn't on that night, and he's screwed. If the offense throws 7 runs up in the first 4 innings, he's fine. Like, there's no problem.
And that's like Trent Dilfer with the Baltimore Ravens. Hey, man, just give us a 7-point lead. We'll take care of the rest.
Look, he pitched the other night, and he came in like the 3rd inning or whatever, Rich, because you wrote about it. And he went into the 8th inning, and he was cruising. Look, the deal is this. Sean Manaea is a perfect example of the A's pitcher. He threw tonight, and the hardest thing to do as a pitcher is to go through the lineup for the 3rd time. When you're a pitcher and you're going through a lineup for the 3rd, they find your routine, they find out what you want to throw, they start getting the book on you. So for a guy like Dustin May, a guy that's in his really first full season, he came up over a cup of tea last year towards the end of the year, but this year was his first full season. You see a world of potential. You see exactly what this guy can do. I mean, he makes Manny Machado look like a $2 four at the plate when he throws that 2 seam that starts here and ends up over here. I mean, it's completely ridiculous. So, there's no way that he goes to the bullpen. I don't agree with that at all. I mean, there's plenty of starters that have gone in that do well as closers. In fact, most do. John Smoltz is the only guy I can think of in recent memory that went from a starter to the closer role, and that was out of necessity and because he's coming off Tommy John surgery. But then a year or 2 later, he's back as a starting pitcher. And that just shows what kind of bulldog Smoltz he was. But if you're a starter, you have a different ability. It's extremely difficult to go from starter to the pen and then they want to put you back. You got to get stretched out. You pitch at a different pace. You don't throw as hard. You got to kind of save yourself. You got to know when to gear up and throttle it back a little bit. There's a lot of things that go into play when you go from one side of pitching to the other. So that one I have a hard time with, but Gooderall's the guy I think that closes. I think he should be the guy going forward. There's a reason why they basically traded Kenta Maeda for him. After the Betts deal went from a 3-team to Minnesota pulled out, which was asinine to me to begin with. So, and I think they realized they fucked up by including Gooderall, but at that point they didn't do anything but trade him. So, the Dodgers need another starter, and they're not. And I don't think we're going to see the Dodgers spend big money until after next offseason. This offseason, they're good, but after he coming off the books, Justin Turner, Clayton Kershaw comes off the books, Andrew Pollock and his albatross of a contract comes off the books. That team has basically 4 guys under contract. You're going to pay Bellinger. Seager is 50-50 after next season, whether or not you want to pay. Gets done this offseason for Seager, getting him out of there, and selling high after the type of year he's had.
You let him walk and get Lindor.
Extremely high on. You got to pay. I trade Seager and prospects for Lindor and lock Lindor up. That's me. And I've been very vocal about that. I think if the Dodgers match up trade wise in terms of what teams look for and needs, the Dodgers and Cleveland match perfectly. Cleveland needs a young catcher. The Dodger has it. Dodgers have major league ready players with Seager and Jock Peterson. And even Pollock they can bring over there, and that gives them 3 major leaguers, throwing 2 more minor leaguers. You bring Lindor over. And I at the time I thought Clevenger, who may be out for the remainder of the year, which is a huge loss for San Diego after he hurt his bicep and his pitching arm tonight. You look at, but there's other players over there that they could possibly bring over. But the Dodgers and Indians match up perfectly and ideally for some type of trade. That for Lindor, because it'd be hard for me to see him on any other team, to be honest with you.
I do agree with you
about
a good
night too, because if we would have done this last night with that late game, I would have been cursing my ass off.
With that Laker game?
Are you allowed to cuss, Joe, while you in public? Okay.
I fucking cuss anywhere I want, but
I mean, I saw you kind of look over your shoulder when you said that. Hey, Rich, did you catch that? He was like, "I'll fucking cuss anytime I want," and he kind of looked over his shoulder.
I'm looking at. I'm looking. It's weird. It's weird doing it. I'm trying to get used to doing it on the phone versus my computer.
Oh, okay. So you just gonna call out people that do podcasts on the phone?
Been as angry at. Yeah, it's just different for me. I always do want a computer. There's no wrong. But I've never been so angry at a Laker team than I was last night. Ever.
It was pretty frustrating last night but you know what though? Just like I said with the Heat and the Celtics, y'all gotta give credit to those damn Nuggets, man. Like they've shown throughout the entire postseason, they didn't get the memo that they're not supposed to be playing as good. So yes, there were mistakes made, but that's also because the Nuggets were on last night. Jokic was doing his thing. Murray was having a big game. Grant had a big game. Porter did some things as well. So it's like when you force your opponent's hand, sometimes you can force them to make mistakes and things just don't work out. I was more frustrated with Anthony Davis only getting 2 rebounds. You know, that's something you just can't do with your size and skill set. But then again, it's also like
Dwight and JaVale either.
Yeah, and JaVale McGee. Yes, it's easy to say, well, the Lakers just overlooked them and they called it in. I'm sorry, guys. At this particular stage, with the expectations, what we've seen from them, and who's on the team, I do not believe that they overlooked anybody. I think it was just one of those nights where the Nuggets were on and the Lakers were off. They didn't overlook them. They wanted to get the sweep if they could. The Nuggets just said, yeah, I don't know if you've seen our first 2 series, but we're not going down so easy.
Ain't nobody overlooking the team that went down 3-1 in 2 series and won. The only thing that the Lakers are doing is contemplating. Do you win the game tomorrow and put them down 3-1, or do you lose so it's a 2-2 series and then you got, a legit shot? Because I wouldn't put that team down 3-1. I wouldn't feel comfortable about it. I'd be like, I don't know, man. We should just lose this shit.
Hey, Richie, do not take this personally because I don't know any other way to word it. That might be the dumbest yet smartest thing I've ever heard said. Like, right? If we win, we're up 3-1. But these motherfuckers know how to come back from that. So maybe if we lose with 2-2, it'll be in our favor a little bit. So, like I said, that might be the dumbest yet smartest thing I've heard. So I
saw something about it today, had me cracking up, and I was like, man, you really think about it. And I was like, that's a decision. You're sitting there like, son of a bitch, I kind of don't want to put them down 3-1. I've seen what they've done twice.
That's almost like saying, hey, let's lose this road game so we can bring it back home.
Yeah, exactly.
Hell yeah. Good. Let's go 3-1, man. Fuck it.
Put them down 1 and end the damn series in game 5. You don't. There's no way in. Look, this Lakers team isn't built like the Clippers. This Lakers team isn't built like the Jazz, okay? The Lakers have 2 of the top 5 players in the NBA on this team. LeBron knows how to close out series. Yes, I know Kawhi does, but LeBron, I think the Lakers at this point, they know they're on a mission. They know, like Anthony Davis said that he was very disappointed in the type of game he played last night, having 20-something points, but then only 2 boards. He got his first board with like under 5 minutes left to go in the game. It's ridiculous. Like it's and watching that game, the Lakers, quite honestly, when they went to the zone, gave Denver fits, and they tried to run some high screen stuff, high pick stuff. It just wasn't really wasn't working. Dwight Howard needs to stop trying to be an antagonistic person and antagonizing Jokic. Go back to doing what he does. He's fucking around too much, and quite frankly, I'm tired of it. Get out there, board, body, play some defense, and then get the ball out, and you'll get your touches and your points. But this doesn't revolve around Dwight. This doesn't revolve around JaVale. This is LeBron, AD being two of the top 5 players in the league, asserting their dominance on a very good Denver team who shouldn't be there. A Denver team that feels they should be up 2-1 in this series. And the Denver team doesn't fear you and will go blow for blow, throw punch for punch with you in the middle of the ring. It's a scary, and yeah, it is kind of funny. 3-1 or 2-2, and then close them the fuck out. Don't play around. This isn't the time to play around.
No,
hey,
and that's definitely a thing.
Go ahead, Rich. My bad.
I was going to say, obviously it's a joke. You never want to lose a game no matter what. But it's one of those things where you look at that shot like Porter hit the other night over LeBron, and it's one of those where you say they're not supposed to be there. You're not supposed to hit that shot. That was a bad shot. But it's one of those, you see what this team's bringing. They're not afraid of anybody, like Joe said. They're not scared of you. They don't care if you've got 2 of the 5 best players. They think they've got 3 of the 5 best. But, that's one of those, they think they're the best team on the court, which you got to have that mentality. And they've been showing that they're not to be trifled with. I mean, Jokic has done really well. The thing is, though, I want to see more out of Anthony Davis. Yes, Dwight Howard needs to stop all the antics. I feel like he's gotten comfortable. This is the Dwight Howard everybody was scared of. And now they're in the bubble. Everybody's hanging out. Everything's all comfortable. He's feeling comfortable. He's going to start acting up. Shut up. Rebound the ball. Dunk it. Do your thing, bro. But Anthony Davis needs to come out and show out like he did that other game where he hit that game winner. He needs to have that same energy through the next game and show people this is why I'm a top player in basketball. I can close out games and I could finish series and take teams that are good at bringing out 3-1 deficits and finish it and close it out and bring another chip to LA.
I couldn't. I honestly disagree with you guys on the Dwight Howard part. I agree to an extent. My thing is that we saw in the first 2 games, though his actions and being the antagonist were working on the Denver big men. They was frustrating them and getting them in foul trouble. The problem is Howard is doing it when they're not in foul trouble. He needs to wait until they get into foul trouble and they start making mistakes. Then he could do that and it will make more sense. Doing it when they're not in that particular state and they're in the zone, you look like the fool. So, and look, if the white veteran, he's been around enough. It's one of those things where he's trying to poke you in the ribs. He's trying to push you a little bit, and that's why you do just small little things, you always say, when I'm on the court, the ball never goes in the hoop. So every time, even if it was the end of the quarter, a timeout was called, and you see someone just throw the ball up, KG's about to hoop, he's jumping up and blocking it. It's a mindset. No easy baskets, nothing. And for someone like Howard, he's trying to do the same thing. Of course, when the guy you're doing it to isn't fazed by it, you look dumb. It's kind of like that cornerback in the NFL that's jarring at the receiver, but the receiver ain't talking back to him and he's making catches. The corner looks dumb. But when that receiver is dropping passes are being overthrown, he's looking at his hand, shaking his head, then the corner looks like, oh yeah, see, he's in his head. So it's a double-edged sword in that particular way, in that particular asset. Davis got to be more aggressive. What did I say?
I'm sorry, Kalani. It was nothing you said. Joe was doing the hands thing, and all I could think about are those damn wide receivers where they got like Kirk Cousins overthrowing them by 15 yards, 12 feet over their head, and you got the corner out there like, not in my house. And you're like, bro, you didn't do anything. You were standing there. You overthrew both of y'all. It's in the 4th row of the stands, bro.
that is the most
like,
that is the most ignorant thing that NFL players do when it's a 50-yard overthrow and they're waving their hands. What are you doing? What are you doing?
I'm like, bro, you didn't do shit.
I love it. Yeah. I love it. I tell all my corners to do that shit.
I hate that.
Going out
I
there.
hate it.
I don't care.
Some shit Josh Norman used to do just to get on, or Jalen Ramsey,
and beat his head like, "Hey, cuz, that's what I'm talking about. I hit your chest,"
Hey, speak. It's kind of
But
it's kind of a
I
long.
will agree, Kalani. Here's the thing. So,
Oh, okay.
no, I just want to wrap up the Laker talk, but then to done,
Mhm.
then I'm gonna get out after your points. I agree with you with the White to the extent where, yeah, he should keep on doing it, but the problem is the White's doing it and he's getting it, and that's part of the problem. And I think that, and he can't um okay. And when it comes down to it, um he gets in his own head, he gets in his own way, and that's part of the problem. Dwight's getting in his own way when he's trying to do that. If he's focusing too much, I think that he is doing the little things he needs to do to go out there and contribute on the court, like with rebounds, block shots, setting picks, hard screens, things like that.
don't be Patrick Beverly. Is that what you're saying?
Don't be in the back seat trying to talk shit. Yeah, man. Oh man, that is crazy. I want to ask you guys this because we were talking about corners. The greatest corner of all time has a new title. Coach Prime at Jackson State University, HBCU. Jackson State hires Deion Sanders to be his new head coach. And as he said, I'm only responding to Coach Prime now. What are your guys' thoughts on this? It seems like in the last, with everything that's going on, HBCUs have really come to the forefront of conversation with basketball and now football. What are your guys' thoughts on this particular hire?
I am super excited about it because.
Okay, can I go first on this one?
Go ahead, do your thing.
I'm saying,
go ahead.
Because I played being that I played there. I played at Clark. It's to me it's beyond exciting because on the Juneteenth article I wrote about HBCUs, I literally put in there, I would love to start seeing 4 and 5-star players going to HBCUs over Power 5 schools, and what that would mean to HBCUs and what that would mean to college football. Because growing up, Thanksgiving, the day of Thanksgiving was Grambling State versus Southern. It was the Bayou Classic, and that's Saturday, excuse me. And we would watch that before the Army All-American game, and we would see the Battle of the Bands. Going to an HBCU, like, we would come out from halftime and everybody would be gone because the band was done. I mean, literally, they were there to see the band. But there's some really good football players that came out of HBCUs in the history of the NFL. Walter Payton went to Jackson State. Willie Davis went to Grambling. And the list goes on and on and on. What I'm interested to see with Deion is if the hires that were leaked are actually true. This is the part that I'm fearful of. It's starting to look like a shit show. Too many leaks about who's going to be on the staff, and then Deion replying on Twitter, "Oh, this is wrong. That's not how you're going to deal with me." Players, "Oh, I'm not on the staff, but if he wants me, I'll be there." More like you have to keep, if you're going to make your staff and you're going to put together your staff, keep it quiet, because as I found out even through the UNLV stuff, there's still hiring practices that need to go into place. And there are certain things that the ink may not be dry on certain contracts. So for you to leak it, it could jeopardize a lot of different things. So for me, I love the Deion hire. I want to see more. I want to see more of it, but don't turn it into a fucking clown show in a circus. I hope Deion doesn't. I trust Deion doesn't. But damn it, I want this to be right for not just HBCUs, but for college football, because the HBCUs, they need to, I would love to have them to have a decent TV contract so those schools can get more airplay, because they are so much fun to go to, so much fun to be at, and they actually have some pretty good football that gets played if you really watch the game.
And make sure it's the right ESPN contract. We're not talking about ESPN Ocho, ESPN Deportes, ESPN News. Make sure it's the proper ESPN channel.
That's true. Go ahead, Richie.
Well, I was saying I'm super excited about it because the show that we did the night that the NBA went on strike, and it was me, you, and TQ and all those and all the people we had on, I brought up a big thing that I felt that a big way of them helping all of this was stopping going to these big schools and these big recruits going to these HBCUs. And the big thing that you guys were reiterating to me was that they don't offer the stuff that these other schools have. It's probably not going to happen. That's your thing that offers the shit that the other schools don't, is you could play for Deion Sanders. So now you know you're going to get some kind of press. It's not going to be obviously on TV as much, but you're going to get some kind of press, whether it be social media, Sports Center, Bleacher Report, whoever, Barstool, because didn't he start working? He was working there before he took the job.
Oh, he's still there. He's still there.
So, yeah. But what I'm getting at is, though, so now his outreach is further. So now if you have other ex-players going back and coaching HBCUs, whether it be football or basketball, you're going to get these teams. Listen, the world we live in today is all about freaking marketability and how you can get on TV and what's the climate. This is the climate we're living in. These people need to get these jobs extended out and take them, and then the TV deals need to do their side. And then you can really push this to where these HBCUs can start getting these 5-star recruits, and a lot of them where they can match up against maybe an Alabama and a Georgia one day.
What's interesting is
okay.
What else? No, I'm sorry. I took, because when the news kind of came out last Wednesday or Thursday, that he was going to take the job, I was talking to a college football coach, and he happens to be African American. And I was like, yo, like, Deion's taking this Jackson State gig, and he goes, he ain't taking it. I said, yeah, he is. It's coming out. He goes, nah, bro, they ain't paying him enough. He's like, they only get paid like 70 to 80 grand a year as a head coach. And because I said, would you take a gig as a DC or a head coach at HBCU? He goes, no, they don't pay enough. When Deion took it, I was like, oh, and then last night I was talking with TQ, in one of our sub forums, and maybe I don't know if it's in the same forum that you guys are in, but maybe in our editors forum. But I said, well, SAP and TO, and he's like, yes. I go, I don't know about TO, and he goes, nah. And I said, well, I would like to see Michael Irvin before TO, because I thought Irvin would be a better. I think it'd be a better, even though TO was, I just think Irvin and Deion the connection, right? And he goes, nah. He goes, Irv got paid. The guys that he's bringing in, though, they need money right now. You look at SAP, you look at TO, and a few others. They need some dough. So that's probably part of the reason why they're coming in. And I didn't even think about it like that. Go ahead, Kalani. I'm sorry.
No, you're good, Joe, man. Because I know sometimes, I know given your situation right now, you might be pressed for time. So I got you, man. No worries. But see, just like you, Joe, I went to Alabama State, the Alabama State University. So I love the idea of, it's a whole lot better than Clark. So yeah.
Not like
no.
We own y'all.
You said what?
Battle of the Bands, we own y'all.
What happened on the field, though?
People, like I said, people don't go to HBCUs to watch the game. They watch bands.
Hey,
they don't have HBCU. They don't have movies about HBCU football, but they got it about the bands.
Don't they play the music on the field too, though? I mean, that still went down on the field, right?
They don't. They didn't make a movie about it just because Hollywood don't want to. You know what? You're not going to distract me, Joe. I'll let you talk. You're not going to distract me. But no, in all seriousness,
Michael Jordan. No, I'm just kidding.
I think this is awesome.
Fucked them all up. You don't even know what he's talking about now.
Hey, you know what's fucked up about that? Is that as soon as you said that, I started thinking of the HBCUs in North Carolina, and I said, God damn it, if one of you sons of bitches hired him, I swear to God.
I'm sorry, I had to. I knew I could do it, though.
I got to work on that, man. I got to go see a therapist because that's got to. No, but in all seriousness, I think this is a great hire because, like I said, in the last year, we've heard HBCUs come to the forefront of conversation when it came to athletes. And like we were just saying, it's hard for them to get recruits because their facilities, their field, the level of competition, it does not match what you can get at a D1. Like if I'm a running back, I'm definitely going to go to Alabama, even though there's 5 other running backs there, simply because I know their history and their facility, that's the best opportunity for me to work and get to the next level, get national exposure, play for a championship, and get to the next level. Where the HBCU, where I probably would go there and potentially start right away and break records, but no one's going to see it, though. So I think it's a great hire. You get someone like Deion Sanders, that's automatically going to put you in the news, not just for the hire, but then when you start having some games, because trust me, his games may not necessarily get on TV when they play, but you're going to see some highlights, especially when they make big plays. Because I don't know if people are aware, but Deion's been coaching high school football where his son was playing in Corpus Christi, Texas, for the past couple of years. So this
and they won state championships.
Exactly. So this isn't
Shiloh. That's
Sanders. Okay. So okay.
Well, no, that's the thing. His son is committed to South Carolina as a quarterback. They're talking about him decommitting and going to Jackson State to play for his dad. And the number 1 quarterback in the state of New York just committed to Grambling, and he had 25 Power 5 offers. So, like, this could be a thing happening, which Kalani, I'm with you. I would be excited to see something like that.
No, certainly. But you know what, though, and Joe, I wanted to just touch real quick on what you were saying about the shit show, about the hires. You got to also realize with social media, that could be a fan-made thing right there. You know, that could be a fan-made thing of just, hey, what about these guys? And then you put it out there, and then because of who the names are, it gains traction. Then it's kind of like a meme. And then next thing you know, it reaches everybody. Those will be some great hires, but if I'm being honest, I don't think Deion's going to try to fill it up with a bunch of NFL guys like that. You know, this isn't an all-star game for EA Sports or whatever have you. I think if he's going to get guys, and let's say they were former players, I think he's going to get guys who, and I hate to say this, but guys who know how to teach the game, as opposed, like Warren Sapp is tremendous and he's extremely smart, but he's also a guy who is physically more gifted than your typical player. So for him, he worked hard, but he didn't have to work at every fundamental aspect to get to what he had to do. That's why in like basketball, great basketball players don't always make great coaches, because for them, it's like for Magic. I can't teach you to see the court how I saw the court. So when you're running this play, I'm seeing this guy to my right, even though I'm looking left, whoop out the bam, showtime. You don't see that. So it's hard for me to get you to play how I played. But someone like a Mark Jackson or a Steve Nash possibly, who didn't have the physical gifts like that, they could probably teach it more because they learned the game more to get to and stay where they were at. So I think if he goes that route, we might see former players who more so weren't just physically gifted. Like, I think Randy Moss will be a great coach because he's not only physically gifted, but if you hear him when he coaches other guys, he knows how to also teach it as well. And I think that's the biggest thing. When you get someone like a Terrell Owens or Warren Sapp, I've never really heard them break down games, even when they've been on and analysts on other shows, break it down to the point of the ins and outs of it. You know what I'm saying? So I think if he does go that route, it'll be with other players who know the game more of an X's and O's strategy as opposed to, just line up and ball out.
Well, see, let me clarify. The reporter that reported it covers them, and he covers HBCUs. He's not like some random dude that's just throwing names out. He is a legitimate reporter from a legitimate news source and paper. And Go ahead. Go ahead.
No, no. I was gonna let you get to this, but real quick, when you're done with this, I want to pose a question about that.
Okay. And then on the flip side of that, um, what I also mean by shit show is for them for this to leak out and then Dion to every single report and whatever the case may be. That's the other issue I have. You're the head coach of a football program at this point. You don't need to respond to everything. It's out there. You can just say, "Hey, we're I'm going to our coaching hires aren't names haven't been released yet. These we have 85 years of experience between NFL and college and coaching and playing experience on the staff that I'm putting together. Um, I'm not going to have any further comment until we release the names of my staff." But Dion feels the need to respond, and then to come out and he's still pimping Barstool, like, come be a part of the Jackson State Barstool Viceroy. It's like, Dion, like, what's more important to you? Like, and I'm not going to criticize Dion a lot because Dion is one of my top 5 all-time favorite players in any sport. It's You have to question. I think anybody would, if they don't, it's kind of a red flag. But, like, dude, you are still working with Barstool, and you're a head football coach at a college. You got game planning, recruiting, you got obligations. What is more important to you at this point? And is it the coaching, or is it working for Portnoy and Barstool?
Well, the question I wanted to pose to you guys is it's related to this. Okay, and I'm not going to try to be long winded with it, but it's something else that happened a couple years ago. So back a few years, I think it was like UFC 197, 198, maybe even 199. Ariel Helwani, who's an MMA journalist, he tweeted out that Brock Lesnar was going to return and have a fight at UFC 200. He did it at the event. About an hour and a half later, on the UFC pay-per-view, the UFC released a promo of Brock Lesnar returning. He was in the octagon. It was a video package, and it was real quick. Well, he got in trouble by that. The Dana White and the UFC tried to ban him and kick him out from that. And me and Leo Shower, who obviously is my co-host on our own MMA beat, but we had discussions about that, and it relates to this right here. Okay, I got it. We're journalists, and our kids are break news. But if the news is already going to come out, like, we're not trying to hide this from you. Oh, look, they're trying to hide this from us. No, dude, we got to finalize it first because things aren't fair. And then as a reporter, you leaked this already. To me personally, and Joe, maybe because you above me in this particular aspect, you won't like it, but I don't agree with that. I don't agree with giving away a spoiler if it's already going to happen. Like, if you guys, like, if either one of you hear that, hey, this is going to happen on Friday, you can say, hey, I'm privy to some information that's going to happen Friday, but but I'm not going to leak it out. But just get your popcorn ready or whatever. Okay, got it. But I'm not a fan of, hey, tomorrow morning, Stanford's going to announce that John Elway's coming out of retirement. He's going to be the new athletic director. I'm not a big fan of that if it's already going to be announced. Like, there's already a press conference for it. There's this and that. I'm not a big fan of it because I feel like this right here. Now, instead of talking about Dion's hire, we're also talking about, the circus that's around and all the other stuff that's going on. And then it becomes, well, is Terrell Owens really the guy you want in the locker room? Is Warren Sapp, with all his trouble and his history? And it's like, dude, the ink's not even dry on my signature. And we haven't even got it to them yet. And we're already talking about this. I'm not a big fan of that. And I just want to know, what do you guys think about the media leaking stuff that's already coming out?
Okay, so full disclosure,
UNLV wasn't entirely happy with me about leaking Coach Arroyo's staff. I had the staff leak Monday. The staff was officially released on Thursday. And after talking with certain people there, the reason being was there were certain things that were agreed upon with certain people, and those contracts ended up not getting signed because there was a hiccup here and there. They were prepared. They were preparing lockers and stuff. I say that because there's always a hiccup, and the last thing you want to do is, realistic. The last thing you want to do is, let's say people are going to be excited about Warren Sapp and Terrell Owens being on the staff, and then they're not on the staff. Now you let down people. Now it's like, damn, well, Kalani Lou ain't as good as Warren Sapp, so who the fuck is he? Rich Decristan ain't fucking Terrell Owens. Who the fuck is he? Now it deflates your staff. Now it deflates the amount of energy and the shock that you have in your staff. So that's why, if you know for certain, but that's also the reason why certain reporters break certain things before everybody else, because they have relationships and they're saying, okay, look, when it comes to breaking a story, I could have a kid tell me, Joe, I'm committing to UNLV or I'm committing to USC or wherever, a day or two ahead of time, and I could have the story already done. I'm not going to be the one to say where the kid's going to school. That's his moment, period. I completely disagree with any journalist that does that sits there and says, oh, well, Kalani Lewis said he's going to go to USC. And you haven't made your announcement yet. It happened a couple years ago to Chris Steele, who's now at USC. You know what I mean? At the same time, if you have a story, and it is like John Elway is going to be named the athletic director at Stanford, and the announcement is Stanford calls a press conference for Saturday morning, and you have it Friday afternoon, you better break that shit, because that's the exact time you do it. You do it ahead of time. You don't wait till the morning. Oh, this is what I alluded to. Like, I'll allude to things because I'm asked, put it out a certain way where it's not 100% certain, because there's a lot of give and take, but you can tease it a little bit. But if you're going to put something out there definitively and literally put names and position coaches as to what they are, you better be 100% right. And if it's John Elway's gonna be named the AD, or Mike Piazza's buying the Mets, or whatever the case may be, then you better have it's gonna be a joke.
Well, that kind of was like the whole Bubba Wallace, Denny Hamlin, Michael Jordan thing. I knew it was going to happen for a while, but it came down to Jordan could have pulled out at the last second. Denny Hamlin could have pulled out at the last second. Whatever car team they're dealing with could have pulled out at the last second. So you also don't want to be that guy to say it and then it doesn't happen. But, it's all timing. It's all timing. And I do agree with the thing about the recruiting and stuff like that, about dropping, that's their moment. Like that's something you want to go out and put on your social media and, sit down and do the whole hat thing or whatever. But I do agree with that. The letting people know the day before that something's happening like that, though, I feel like you're saying you kind of have to do that, or you're not going to really know what the presser's about. And I also feel like that's on a scale too. And the problem today, though, is with social media and everything else, somebody's going to leak it, because somebody finds out and accidentally tells their buddy texts their buddy to their buddy, and then boom, it's out. It's just whether people believe it or not.
That's why when we had talked about it as a staff, I posted that Denzel Washington video from a few years back where he called out the media, talking about, if you don't read the news, you're uninformed. If you do read the news, you're misinformed. We're in a society today where it's all about being first. It's not even about being right. It's about being first. Oh no, just get it out there, get it out there, get it out there. And for me, I feel like, well, that sets a bad precedent, because now we're just throwing names. Like think about this. what if those names weren't, let's say they're not legit, like 100% locked, but what if they were names in consideration? What if we were thinking of 4 or 5 guys for defensive line, but Warren Sapp's the biggest name? What if we were thinking of 3 other guys for wide receiver coach? Terrell Owens is the obvious name. So those are going to be the names you remember. But what if I was thinking of this guy and that guy, and this guy worked with Jerry Rice?
But those aren't the names they're gonna. Those aren't the names they're gonna report either, Kalani, because they don't give a shit.
No, but that's what I'm saying is that it becomes that to where now you're throwing it out there when it's like, dude, we had like 7 other candidates. Like, of course, the big name is going to grab it, but he was just on the list. Like, we haven't even interviewed him yet. You know what I'm saying? That was just ideas we were throwing out there. And then it becomes, okay, now for a future coach to come on board and whatnot, now you got to look at that situation and say, are these guys purposely leaking information? Well, maybe I don't want to go there. Kind of like Kawhi Leonard with the Lakers. Hey, guys, I want to come here. I want to be a Laker. I want to play with LeBron and AD. But I need all this to be private. This needs to be G14 classified. But Magic Johnson got it for some reason. I got to go on Twitter. I got to put it out there. That's what I do, baby. I'm Magic Johnson. And then Kawhi is saying, all right, well, bye. And look, I get it. He's not in the playoffs no more. But we could have had Kawhi Leonard and Anthony Davis come to us. But because Magic Johnson had to leak it out there and put it out that they met with him, no. So to me, I almost feel like, yeah, but aren't you also shooting yourself in the foot? Like, again, he's doing great. He's got a show on ESPN with Daniel Cormier. He's got his podcast. Like, he's doing great. I don't see Ariel Helwani around the UFC events like you used to. And again, maybe that's because because now he's with ESPN. He's doing other things as well. They got Brett Okamoto as well, who does a great job. So maybe they switch on and off, with the pandemic going on. Maybe he's not doing as much traveling. I get that. But what I'm saying is that maybe by him leaking that also ruined other relationships that he had, because the UFC is like, okay, everyone needs to stop talking to Ariel Helwani. Any information he gets needs to come from the fighters' camp to them. Anybody here, we find that anybody here is still talking to him, your job is going to be in jeopardy. Now, the inside tracks that you had are no longer there. And what if the same thing happens here? What if now, because I want to be first, I want people to know that it came from here. Well, now because you got it wrong, if you did, what if now the connection you had doesn't become that? Now, what if you become a guy that you barely get in a press conference? And when you do, you get to get the microphone 5th. Like, if there's an order, you're the 5th reporter I go to on questions. So you better hope the guy who's asking 3rd and 4th don't piss me off and I walk out of here, because you won't be able to ask your questions. So to me, I feel like if it's something that you can hold off on until it's fully confirmed, kind of like with like Joe was saying, okay, I got the coaching staff, but some things happen where some of the guys I put out there didn't come on board. What if the same thing happened here? What if it comes up that Warren Sapp was going to do it, but he only want to work on Tuesday and Wednesdays, and that's it. And he doesn't want to fly, and he doesn't want to go with the team on the road if it's anywhere past Texas. Like, well, shit, dude, no, that's not how it works. So we can't roll with that. You know what I'm saying? So to me, again, I get breaking news, but I'm not a big fan of breaking news that is already going to be announced. Like, this isn't like if Jackson State was never going to announce that they were going to hire Deion Sanders and you break it, okay. But if they're like, hey, tomorrow at 10, we have a press conference, we got a big announcement, and then you break it, I feel like you're still in our thunder for what? So a couple, so that you could get some shine? Not like this dude is going to get hired by ESPN now all of a sudden. So I don't know. That's I understand working in the media, our job and obligation, but it's just something to me as a fan and as a person who's in the media. I don't know. It just kind of rubs me the wrong way.
And listen, I agree with you, and I have a large respect factor because I have a few friends in sports and all that, and I would hate to see somebody do that to them. I knew about a bunch of stuff in NASCAR because of my connections with that. And I mean, I'm talking months out and big things, drivers changing sponsorships, just like this thing that came up. And I keep my mouth shut because you know what? It's their time. I was so happy to see it bust across my feed and everybody be surprised. Because if I didn't know about it and I flipped through my feed and I saw that, I'd have been doing backflips through my room. But it's stuff like that, it's like Joe was saying though too, with players, it's the respect of these owners and these drivers and these players on other teams and all these things to give them their space and give them their room and let them come out and say it themselves. Because like you said, taking the thunder away from somebody the day before, whatever little thing you think you got out of that there's nothing there. Like nobody's going to remember you because you said Dion got a job.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying. Like, exactly. Like, dude, like you're not breaking who really shot Kennedy. You're not breaking where Jimmy Hoffa's really hidden. Like, you're not breaking that kind of stuff.
Roswell's real.
Yeah, like you're not doing it. You're not. Oh, I actually have the videotape of what really happened to Jeffrey Epstein. No, I found OJ's other glove. You're not giving us that information. You're giving that we already. This to me, and I always use this analogy. It's like if a movie comes out, you gonna tell us who the surprise cameo is that's gonna set up the sequel. Hey, just so you guys know, they brought in Jamie Foxx. He's gonna be the second villain for the sequel. Dude, let me watch it. Let me check it out. It's already coming out. This
Do you know? Man. Funny enough, Kalani, not to cut you off. Do you know that's why when movies that I really like or want to see, I go see them the night before they're supposed to come out? Like if they come out on a Friday, I go see them that Thursday night because they normally release them in theaters the night before. You know why? Because when you open up your phone at 7:00 in the freaking morning and they show Captain America picking up Mjolnir for the first time, I would have thrown my phone through my damn TV, my nice new TV. I'd put it right through there because dude, I jumped up in the theater and screamed when that happened.
I muted all Avengers stuff. I muted Avengers, Infinity War, Endgame, Iron Man. Like I went through all of it. I muted it. What I started doing was I just unfollowed everything related to that. I didn't follow anyone. I'd follow a couple of people who were into it. Like one of the guys, I unfollowed a media member who's a big wrestling fan, but he likes to talk about, but I don't know, I think it's because he's on the East Coast or whatever, but he gets to, like, when he's talking about the stuff, because it's on tape delay, he's talking about something that's coming on later, and I'm like, well, dude, what's the point of me watching this if you're just telling me what's going on? So I had to unfollow him because I don't like spoilers. I don't like my dessert first.
You laugh about that too, Kalani. My mother does not call me during Yankee games for the last couple of years because she lives in New York and I was living in North Carolina and now here in Vegas. I would be a good 30 seconds to a minute and a half behind her. She'd text me and be like, "Did you see that Judge home run?" And I'm like, boom, drop my phone on the ground. I'm like, great, fast forward. Let's go. Get through it. Next inning. What? Now I'm just mad. Team's up 4 runs and I'm pissed. But that happens all the time. But stuff like that with movies and things like that, that's what I'm getting at, though, with the media. And that's all media, is they don't give anybody 2 seconds to let it come out. And same thing like the movie thing, man. That's the worst because you can't – the next day it's just littered. And I can't stop following. I'm too big into it. It drive me crazy.
Well, I follow them back once I've seen it. I just unfollow them the week of. You know what I'm saying? Just like with YouTube, you gotta be careful because you get some people, whether it's because they're in Europe or whatever, where they do those recap videos. Easter eggs and spoilers. It's like, dude, it is Thursday. How the hell did you already see it? So I stay off that as well until I see it. I'm like you. I gotta go see most of them Thursday. That way, Friday, no one said. And the worst part is when somebody wants to give it away the first weekend, like that Friday. Hey, did you guys see what happened, man? Yo, what about Phantom? You're like, dude, shut the fuck up. It's Friday. Come on, man. Don't do that. And if nothing else, wait till the second weekend to bring it up. Don't do it the first weekend. Don't be that guy. Don't be that guy.
The worst is those people that do that and they're not even Marvel fans. They're like, I just saw my first Avengers movie and Thanos snapped and killed everybody. And you're like, I hate your guts.
Yeah, really. I'm not. I literally unfollowed one of my buddies on Facebook. I unfriended him because when Star Wars The Force Awakens came out, I said, hey guys, if you wouldn't mind, just be a buddy. some of us are big Star Wars fans. Can you not drop any spoilers for the new film? It's been a long time. Let us just enjoy it for the first weekend, and then you can drop it. In the comment section, he posted a screenshot of Han Solo with the lightsaber through him, and I was like, I didn't even say nothing. I just said fuck you, and I just unfriended him, and I haven't talked to him since.
You're a better man than I, Kalani. I'd have drove to that son of a bitch's house and been like, ding dong.
Well, we live in different states. So don't get me wrong. I like Star Wars, but not that damn much. But yeah, I was pissed. I was royally pissed about that. But Richie, man, let's Joe's not here, so we ain't got to go till 3 a.m, man. Let's wrap it up and whatnot so we could get to bed at a decent time.
I was actually going to say the same thing to you.
Yeah, if Joe everybody. Was on here, man, we'll be here to fucking Friday.
All right, everybody. Thank you again for joining myself, Rich Decristan, at RichieLupo11, and Kalani Lua at KLua11, I believe. It's not up there anymore.
Maybe because it's on my phone, so I got to put it there. But yeah, guys, I'm on Twitter at KLUA11. Twitter, KLUA11.
Yes, and thank you, everybody, for joining us for another episode of FSM After Dark. We will see you very soon, probably tomorrow. Good night.
Night.